Oh yeah, Somatic Business Podcast. We're back after quite a break. I have a guest I'm excited to share with all of you, Roland Friedl. Thank you, Roland, for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me and hello to our audience.
We've had quite a few touch points over the last weeks, starting with Mannheim conference. Well, that's already a couple of months ago in Berlin where we met.
Yeah.
And then you invited me for an interview on your channel some weeks ago. And then you just joined the 3 days of authentic marketing that I did. And here we are, turning the tables. And yeah, look forward to our conversation. So one of the things we'll talk about is high ticket offers. What does it take to sell them consistently? How can you do so in integrity? What are maybe mistakes to avoid? We both have quite some years of experience in that. You probably a few more than I have. So that's just a little um, teaser of what we're gonna talk about. But as a starter, I'd love to hear, who are you and what is it that you love the most about what you're doing?
Okay, good question. Who am I? Yeah, first of all, I'm a man and a lover. I'm a human being. That's first of all. I'm a person who is very curious to learn things. So that's why over the last years, I became 60 last week. So I got
Mm,
a broad experience of many things because I'm very curious as I'm not, I guess for a short time, I owned a TV set when my kids have been small, but I'm not a TV. I don't put on a TV. But it's funny because I do TV shows twice a week for USA Global TV and Radio. But anyway, but to answer your question, yeah, I'm a human being. I'm a man. I'm a lover. I'm a curious person. I love to travel. I love to learn about new cultures, languages, people. You really get to it. That's what I am. From my business background, or when you see, we're both part of the Western society, it's all about, what what is your performance? What are your goals? So from this point of view, so actually after school and university, I joined the corporate world like most people do. Or I had a very fast career. So first of all, I went in marketing, advertising, marketing, and then a very fast career. I was in the STS, in the shopping city Süd. At my time was the largest shopping center in Europe, and I was member of the
mm,
board of directors. So I guess the youngest one in Austria, member board of directors. So a very fast career. But I quit because, to be honest, maybe it sounds stupid. I had good money, my telephone was full with all the important people, so-called all important people from business and politics and whatever, public people. But I only had 5 weeks of vacation. And I
mm,
said in the beginning, I love traveling. So I said, okay, I have to find a different way of making income that fits to my lifestyle. So I started building up my own businesses. And to be honest, some have been very successful, but two of them failed, totally failed. But it was a huge learning process for me. So from there, this moments on, from the so-called failures, or I call it feedback or whatever, I knew exactly where my strengths, where my weak points.
mm,
And I said, okay, I focus on my strengths, let my weak points away, and I just outsource my weak points to somebody who knows us better.
mm,
So I was in different industries. I built up a franchise system with 8,000 franchisees all over the globe. I was in nutrition, so different industries. I was selling and constructing sailing boats in Poland and sell them. Uh, many different businesses. So I tried out and had a lot of fun with them. All businesses, to be honest, had products that I would consume for myself.
mm,
So it was important for me that I'm 100% behind that. Because I remember in 1993, I had a meeting in the 13th district in Vienna in a nice, really beautiful house. And unfortunately, he passed away last week, I guess. Didi Mateschitz offered me to join to sell his new product he's bringing to the market. And in the beginning, because he was talking about, okay, he's looking for somebody who goes on retail, somebody who goes on hospitality or restaurants, and the other one who pays on these machines, so
mm,
self-automated machines. And I said, yeah, I'm interested in. And then the second meeting, he brought this drink. I'm not advertising it here. and I couldn't taste. I didn't like the taste, and I don't like it today. So I said no. I guess I lost a hell of money on the road,
Uh-huh.
but no, I still don't like it. I still don't like the drink. But anyway, so
Hmm.
I had many experiences, businesses, and about 27 years ago, I was speaking on a stage in Zurich in Switzerland, and somebody came from another company and said, "Hey, what are you doing? It's cool. Can you train our people too?" So I became a Xerox trainer, and I was been working for Xerox over 27 years in 3 languages all over the globe, except
You,
Australia.
can you say to people what Xerox is?
Xerox was, to be honest, but or is. Xerox is famous, or has been famous. It's a technology company based in the US. They are the inventors of copy machines. It was the first copy. Rank Xerox was the name at the time. Then they had printing machines, fax machines, and now they're more in the software like document management and scan workflows and stuff like that. So it's a huge company all over the globe, and I started delivering for them different management trainings, but also different sales training, like for the normal sales stuff, but also for strategic accounts, large account sales and stuff like that. So I was traveling, yeah, actually the whole world for them. And yeah, the other customers came in like OpenText, Sage now, uh, many big players came to me without any advertising, without any social media, without any website at the time. So this was my career the last year. So now I'm in a transformation process.
Mhm. Nice. Thank you for that arch of where you're coming from. Um, what is it now in the work that you're doing now? What is it that you love the most about it?
Okay, I do less of company training, so I'm just shutting it down a little bit for Xerox, a little bit for Sage. I do it less. The reason for that is, to be honest, I don't like to travel anymore, meaning flying. I have jet lags and
Mm.
time difference and stuff like that. So I don't like to fly anymore. So I decided actually with in 2020. At the time my home base was in Mallorca, on the island of Mallorca. I was sitting at home and I said, okay, what's now? Because I couldn't leave the house for a few months. I said, what's now? And I said, okay, it's time for a transition. Maybe a
Mhm.
transformation, but at least a transition.
Mhm.
And I said, okay, I only want to do stuff that fits into my lifestyle. And at
Mm.
the time, it was clear that I want to will leave the island and move into my large motorhome full time because this was also a dream of mine. So I said, I want to build up a business that fits to my lifestyle. And that's what I love most is traveling and working. That's what I like most. So my focus is on men's work. I do a lot of men's work. As you know, I run this men's podcast, Wild at Heart, at Roland Media at YouTube. I do men's coaching. I support other men's coaches in their work. That's one point.
Mm.
I do TV shows, streaming from my motorhome. And I started actually 2 new businesses. One is supporting people who want to have the same lifestyle like myself, like the
Mm.
combination of work and traveling.
Mhm.
And I'm very passionate about it because I
Mm.
see that more and more people, yeah, want to get out of the treadmill. And what I like most is when people give me the feedback, how the collaboration, the working together changed their lifestyle. They're
Mm.
happier, they're more satisfied, they have less mental or physical challenges. So they're feeling doing that, yeah, make prospering, of course, making money, but because there's always a way to make money. But in their case, they make money with less stress and
Yes.
combining with the lifestyle they love,
Yes.
and that's really fulfilling for me.
Nice. Beautiful. Yeah, so one thing that you said that I want to point out is um, there's a principle where look, like they said, that's a because in the 3 days of authentic marketing, I talked in the beginning a lot about principles, um, because I think that if we follow the right principles and deduct things from the right principles, we're going to succeed in the long term. One of the things that I didn't share that just comes up now is play your game. So there's one thing that I've taken from some of my business mentors and it comes up while listening because you said like, hey, I built all these things. I had a lot of success. But at some point I realized I was living a lifestyle that wasn't actually what I wanted to live.
Mm,
So then the question is, okay, and like, well, you can be successful in that world, but it's not playing your game. And if you
mm,
don't play your game, you cannot win because you're playing somebody else's game.
absolutely.
So yeah, that's a powerful shift to actually turn the question around and be like, and I think it's really relevant. And I talk about this with people I work with as well, is like, let's be clear on what you want and how you want to live. And then let's build a business or adapt your business so that it fits into that and not the other way around.
Yeah. What is quite a tricky question, because I don't know from your experience, but from my experience, most people can tell you exactly what they don't want, but they don't have
Mhm.
any clue what they want.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and I know this, and a lot of people get stuck in that place. And so, what I encourage them to do is, and what I've always done is, I cannot tell you like exactly how I want my life to look like in 10 years, but I can tell you the direction. I can tell you that I have a felt sense of what I want to move towards, what I want to have more of, and what I want to have less of. And I always tell people that's going to be enough. And as you take steps, it's going to become more clear. And maybe
Mm,
you'll take a step and you'll be like, oh, okay, well, I thought I wanted this. Now I know I actually don't want this. Cool. Let me go in a different direction.
yeah.
Like, for example, when I started working as an entrepreneur in 2017, 2018, it was this huge dream of mine to live in the middle of nature, be able to do my work, and but be surrounded by nothing but just pristine nature. And so over the years, I moved ever more deeply into nature until at some point I lived in Upper Austria. It wasn't even in the village. It was like behind the last village before it was just mountains. It was right next to like a skiing area. Um, and it was like, it felt like a huge accomplishment. And then I realized, oh, cool. And now I want to live again in a place where I'm surrounded by nature, but also civilization and certain things and certain people are more accessible.
Mm,
So I think sometimes we overcomplicate this whole thing around what do you want, and uh, instead of like being like, what is it that I want? Um, you have a felt sense, you have like an intuition of what you want to move towards. So start moving towards that. And over time, you will realize whether it's true or not. And I guess it always depends on like the kind of person that you talk to. So I'm a very introspective person. You don't have to tell me to like slow down and think about things. Like that's what I do by default. And so I'm
mhm.
talking to people like that. Be like, you probably don't have to like do more slowing down and soul searching. You have to start taking steps and information will appear. And then other people might need to hear the complete different. Might be like, yeah, you're really good at like full on blasting your way through the forest, but maybe take a moment first to like think about what's the general direction you want to move towards.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, I always encourage people, to really think about what you really want to do in life,
Hmm.
what you want to do, where you want to live, with whom you want to live, how do you want to feel, yeah, and then this for me the pillars, of a life, yeah.
Yeah.
How do you want to live? Where do you want to live? With whom you want to live, yeah, and then making around your income. But we all have to settle our bills at the end of the month. But you can do it in a way where this is really frustrating and energy sucking, or you can do it in a way that is inspiring yourself and other people and brings that energy. Well,
Yeah.
but as you said, first of all, you have to find out what you really want. But what I learned is actually I did an interview last week or 2 weeks ago for USA for an American TV show. Is it's about freedom. Most people think about freedom of something. They want to get rid of the change. They want to get rid of whatever it is. Yeah.
Mhm.
And then they fail because they have no idea why they want to have freedom. Freedom for what? What do you
Mm.
want to do with this freedom?
Yep.
Yeah. And also what comes along with freedom is with a free lifestyle or being a free spirit is responsibility.
Yep.
Nobody's telling you what to do. You cannot blame anybody. So you need self-responsibility, you need discipline, and you have to be brave. I mean, most people are scared to live the life they want.
Mm.
Absolutely scared.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. So one thing that we're both passionate about is, and for me, that's somehow part of leaving the treadmill, which is no longer being paid by the hour of work, but by the quality of our delivery.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I learned years ago by a book by Robert Kiyosaki, where the different forms of income. And I said most people are changing time with money.
Yeah,
That's one thing. It doesn't matter if you're an employee or you're self-employed. It's
yeah,
you're always changing. Always in exchange, and we also have limited time. And I think the other thing is that when we think about income or generating income is okay. Does for me it's always important. Does it work on the long term? But the question is nowadays, what is long term? 5 to 10 years. It's not like when I was young, 40 years. No, it's five
yeah,
to 10 years. Does
yeah,
it work? Does it work on a long time? And then focus on strategy. And most people, I feel, they always try to chase money.
mm,
And this is a wrong approach for me. So it's as you discussed first, you have to know how you want to live, where you want to live, and
yeah,
then okay, what kind of business can you do that
yeah,
generates income that you can afford your lifestyle,
yeah,
and then you work for it because you're passionate about it, because you know exactly you love it, it inspires you other people, you bring value, you add value to other people, and it fits into your lifestyle. I remember when I started my franchise work, build up this franchise system with other guys. I was not the fastest one in the whole world. And I said, oh, fuck, the other guys who are not so intelligent like myself in a lot of people. They're faster than me. And I was really frustrated. And I was, after a year, I was almost to give up.
mhm,
I was almost to give up. And then I had a mentor. He asked me one question. Roland, you told me what is your goal? Be financially free and travel the world. Is this still your goal? I said, yes. Did you find another way to reach this goal? I
nice.
said, no, Huck. And then I said, what we are doing? Okay, help me. And I was motivated again. So I always had my own motivation, and there was no other way or no other option to reach this goal. So I keep going. So I guess it's very important that people, whatever they want to do, is have a real goal. And what I mean by real goal is not a, a nice to have stuff because my neighbor has it or an influencer has it or a bee celebrity or so. It's something that I really want to have. And mostly
Yeah,
it's not material stuff.
yeah, yeah, I agree that I mean, what this brings you towards is to understand that we never want money for the sake of money. We want money for like to fulfill a certain function in our lives.
Yeah.
Like to no longer have to do things that I don't want to do, to be able to outsource things, to be able to live in a place that fulfills certain conditions.
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, I think that's it's important to do. Like I know that one of the or some of the things that were really important for me when I started as an entrepreneur was this kind of like question, is it possible to do something that I really love doing that feels meaningful to the world, where I feel like I'm having an impact, where I get to um, follow my like take good care of myself, like do it in a regulated way, take good care of my health, and generate good income, and be flexible with time, as in
Mm,
I don't have to be committed
mm,
to like certain times or stuff like this, so I'm flexible. And when I started, this was like such a distant dream. And now I get to live this. And it's so fascinating to notice once you achieve something, how like the goalpost immediately gets set further away. And it really like takes conscious practice to be like, let's slow down for a moment.
mm,
Where I am right now is like what I dreamed of, what I almost felt like, am I allowed? Am I like, can I dare to bring that into my life, and now it's reality.
Mm.
So I think that's a really important thing to keep in mind is the next thing will always come, and if we don't practice slowing down and acknowledging the things we've already accomplished, it actually can continue to be a treadmill. It actually can continue to be this thing of like, yeah, but there's already the next thing.
Yeah, yeah. Well, of course, I guess we have to slow down and we have to enjoy our achievements and
Yes,
celebrate. I'm a huge fan of celebrating even small successes.
yes,
But what I also learned is once you reached your number one goal, find another one. I give an example because it was always I come from a low standard middle class family. Yeah, so my parents couldn't afford much for me. I've never been in an airplane together with my parents, stuff like that. But my dad bought the first car, I guess I was 7 or 8 years old, something like that. So very low class, middle class family. So there was always, this hunger, this burning desire to do something differently. And I remember when I was 5 years old with my neighbors, because my parents couldn't afford it, I could go to Italy. I saw the sea the first time in this reincarnation. And I said, wow, it was a blast. And I come back home and I told my parents, as you know, as a small boy, that was exciting and it was so cool
mm,
and so on. And my dad told me, yeah, everyone else, but not you. We never can afford that.
mm,
And this was a pain in my ass. And this was always my dream to live on the same side. So everything I did all the years, uh, to be honest, during my university year and then my first marriage, I forgot my dream because, in this treadmill, I started very early with a family, 3 kids, you have to make income and stuff like that. So I was in the treadmill. But when I had time to breathe in 1990, when I joined my first yoga class 34 years ago, uh, then I had time to breathe and I said, oh, my dream come back. So everything from this moment on was under this goal. And I remember when I moved to this beautiful island and I had this amazing sea view, living on the seaside, the luxury mansion. I was there. And after a year, I was depressed.
mm,
And I said, and everybody told me, my second wife, everyone said, hey, we have money, you have your luxury cars, you have this mansion, your dream came true.
mm.
And all my friends said, wow, that's amazing. And I was depressed. And then afterwards, I found out because I have to set another goal. I'm a very driven person. I'm very a focused person.
Mhm,
And I have to set another goal. I
mhm.
cannot sit down for too long. Yeah, half a year is fine for me to
Yes.
relax, but so I had to set up a new goal. And I found a new goal and boom, again.
I love it. I love it, and I can really see myself in this as well. That it's like and there's something so satisfying around focusing energy towards something. And I think
Yeah,
the challenge in there is to do it from a place of um, appreciation, like to sort of not do this in a place of like where I am is shitty, and because then you will arrive there and things will still be shitty. So the challenge is how can I do that in a way where I appreciate that, I have more luxury and privilege than the vast majority of people where I am right now, and to really acknowledge that, but then to still follow that fire. I think yeah, it's beautiful to hear you talk about this. It's great.
yeah, yeah. But still, enjoy the small things. I give an example,
Yeah.
and I traveled the world, and to be honest, when I go in a hot shower, I'm in heaven
Mm,
because there was many parts of the world there was no hot water, there was no
mm.
clean water, nothing. So I love the small things, but most of the people in the Western society is totally normal. You think about it
Yeah.
because they never experienced the other way around. So I'm
Yeah.
still this button down boy, from coming from a lower middle class. Yeah,
Mm.
absolutely.
Yeah, that's great. It's funny you mentioned that because this is something that popped up for me a couple of months ago, is just to realize like hot showers, the way we have them, they don't exist that long, like probably less than 100 years that you can just turn on a tap and like hot water's coming out. But for us, it's like the most normal thing ever. It's pretty insane.
Absolutely.
Let's move a bit to the high ticket stuff.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, you've been selling high ticket for a long time. What would you say were your biggest lessons, challenges that you were facing in that process that you had to go through to be able to comfortably sell things at a comparatively high price?
Oh, my mindset, my limiting belief system. I'm not good enough.
Hmm.
Who the heck want to buy this?
Yeah.
This was my first thing, my mindset, to be honest, my mindset. Even I had a success in different businesses or in the corporate world, it still was my mindset. Maybe through my experience with my childhood, that said, I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough. This was one thing. And the second thing is that I had a little bit a challenge to go out of my comfort zone, you know. When I was working for my other companies, everybody knew me, I'm successful, so I feel comfortable.
Hmm.
I know exactly what to do. I
Hmm.
would, when we talk in a gamer language, I know where to press the buttons. I
Hmm.
know exactly what to do to be successful and get the cheers or whatever.
Hmm.
And but on the other hand, I was no, I want to do something different. I want to do something different. Like writing books. I give an example. I finished my book 1.5 years ago
Hmm.
in 3 languages. A friend of mine wrote the English version, a US friend. I just found it out today in June last year, and today I finished it finally. So I got to publish it. So, and still that's the mindset. I'm not good enough. So it's still coming more, yeah, again and then again, again. Even when I'm working that, and even when I'm a coach, you know, for other people. But it
Yeah.
happens to me too. The only thing, again, the difference is that I realize it and I can work on it, but
Yeah.
it still catches me sometimes.
Yes.
So this is the two main challenges. It's just mindset.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like how you talk about this as in this is not something because I think the illusion we can create for ourselves is I will be successful once that's gone, like once I don't feel this anymore. But the reality is nothing in that sense has to change. It's just you have to find a way to notice this pattern and not operate from it.
Mm, mm,
Like there's a guy called Ken Wilber who talks about the
mm.
stages of consciousness, who says
Yeah.
something like, what is me today is in me tomorrow.
Yeah.
And to me, this applies to this is like, oh my God, like I'm in this like imposter syndrome. I'm not good enough. So can I create enough space to be like, okay, yeah,
Mm.
there's a part in me that believes that, but that's not all of me.
Yeah.
And really, for any driven entrepreneur, there's always more in you than this because otherwise you wouldn't be pursuing your dream.
Mm.
If all you were was this limiting belief, why would you even go for something that feels big and outrageous, right?
Yeah.
So it's for me, it's about creating that space, taking care of this part. Like I like this image of like being a parent for all the different parts that
Mm.
come up in the
Yeah.
process, but then do it anyway.
Yeah.
And sometimes it will come up and we can kind of like shift and be like, okay, it's here. Let me create more space so that I can stay present and be of service to what I'm actually creating.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that was my learning too, you know. I say I welcome it when it's coming. I don't suppress it. It's here, and
Yes.
then I look deeper. And as I said, give it more space, and then I keep going. This is
Yeah.
my biggest challenge. And the second one, when we talk it more from a business point of view,
Mhm.
when we narrow it a little bit more, was uh, being aware that you have to find your niche.
Mhm.
Because you know, with my experience, you know, yeah, I'm so broad experience. You know,
Yeah.
I I started in 2020. Can you imagine with a website? I had no website before because my customers dropped in by recommendations. So I never had to find a customer. They all came in
Mhm.
over the years. And then, you know, 2020 was different. So I started with a website and at the end I had 7 websites because I have different, actually they fit all together. It's more or less coaching and mentoring, but different
Yeah.
target group, different content and so on.
Yep.
And and then the company who does all the websites for me said, okay, now we make an umbrella website. So you have to
Yeah.
set, you can send out an umbrella website and people can link from there, or you just set up. So my agenda is very, very broad because I have a lot of experience in different fields. As I said in the beginning, I was never watching TV. So this was difficult to market. So I
Mhm.
had to find out, okay, where to start first. What is my niche? Because you cannot build up from scratch 3 businesses parallel. It doesn't work. You have to focus on one, at least 80%. When it's running, then you can start the second one. But for me, the challenge was where to focus. I love this, I love this. Where to start, to choose it. This was another challenge for me.
So what helped you there?
Good question. I love to 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 draw. I like to draw, so I was drawing my whole thing, and then this business and this business and this business and this business. I make every year a plan. Okay, how much should this business make and this business make and this business make? I have to see it in front of me, and then I always look at it. I say, okay, honey, who is next?
Mhm.
I see my business like a baby, honey, baby, who is next?
Mhm.
And then I choose it
Mhm.
because I love them all. It's like I have three boys. I love them equally, both of them. But here in the business, I have to decide for one at the beginning. Doesn't mean that I cannot do the other ones later, but I have to just to start. And it was that one that came closest to my own lifestyle. And this is the wireless life rock system, supporting people who want to combine work and traveling because it comes closest to my own lifestyle.
Yeah. Mhm.
I did not think about clients or how much income I generate, or because I think this is this is for me. It's I strongly believe in karma and the root and cause and effect. Yeah, uh, making money is an effect, but it's never the cause.
Mhm.
Uh,
Mhm. Nice. Yeah, I like how you talk about this is one of the challenges that I talk to my clients about very often is, yeah, I think it's a big challenge for people who are very creative and interested in many different things. It's just kind of like, I don't want to narrow down because I don't like, I'm not just this, like I'm so much more.
yeah,
So what I usually talk my clients through is to say, look, primarily we need this from a marketing perspective that people feel spoken to. Because if I say, hey, I'm David, and these are the 6 things that I'm really passionate about, um, and like the different areas and so on, people might find it cool, but people will not feel spoken to in terms of like particular challenges that they're facing. So when it comes to like this kind of narrowing down, it's more about creating specific entry points into your world. And once people are in, you can say, look, I may be a lot crazier than you thought when you first met me, and there are so many more interests that I have and different methodologies that I like to use. And now that you're in my world, I'm starting to show you how actually things are
mm,
connected with each other and how, we talk about business, but really ultimately it's about life. Like all of that is fine, but you cannot start with that.
yeah,
Because if you start with a lot of complexity, people who don't have enough context and who don't know you, they'll just zone out.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so, and it's one of the things that we talked about now also in the 3 days of authentic marketing is um, I have to be specific in the beginning. I have to address something. I have to know the person I'm talking to and the challenge that they have and the desire that they have almost better than they do themselves, because then they start listening.
absolutely.
Then they're like, oh, well, this person is speaking to me, literally. They're expressing a thought that I've never shared with anyone before.
Mm.
And now they're in.
Yeah, absolutely. Because at the end, at the end of the day, it's never about us. We can be so proud of our broad experience and impress other people. It's
Yes.
nice on a cocktail party, to impress other people. But if you want to sell something,
Yes.
it's all about the client. And it's okay, you have to really spot one target group, one
Yes.
niche, a certain pain, and help them. And then afterwards, you can do cross and upselling or whatever.
Yes. Beautiful. Yeah, I love this. That it's on some level, it's also about humility and like almost like taking myself out of the equation in the sense that for me, marketing should in the first place not be artistic self-expression. And I think that's what a lot of like creative spiritual entrepreneurs do. And it can actually work really well. It can be beautiful that you show your different sides. And, sometimes I love sharing poetry, for example, and stuff like this. But you have to be able to do like the super precise stuff as well, because otherwise people might like sort of resonate with you, but they will not even know what it is that you're offering or that you're trying to speak to them.
Yeah, I remember years ago when I was training one of these big players in the world. They had one concept worldwide when they target a new client. So the first meeting they have, they do a presentation about themselves or a company. I don't know, 10 slides. I said, what the heck are you doing? It's not about you. It's all about the client. If the client wants information, they can find it. They can Google it, whatever.
Yeah.
If they have a question, yes, it's about what are the client's needs?
Yeah.
Where's the pain? Yeah.
Yeah. What would you say to people who um, look at like the high ticket industry like kind of skeptically, who feel like, well, there's a lot of fraud there and they don't want to be associated with um, like taking advantage of people's pain or like charging something that feels unethical where it's yeah, I think those are some of the things that people have kind of like cautions against when going into the high ticket space. What is something that you would say to a person like that?
From a facilitator's point of view or a customer point of view?
So them as like the person selling being like, well,
Okay.
I'm interested in going higher prices, but
Okay.
I don't want to act like a fraud. I don't want to
Okay.
manipulate people, all this kind of stuff.
Okay, okay, got it, got it, got it. Yeah, I mean, we had it in our conversation before. I mean, it's always, you know, if something is trendy or it's working, then a lot of people try to surf the wave. This is normal. There's in every business, not only in the coaching world. This is everywhere, and it takes some time that the market will decide who will survive and who not. Yeah, because one thing is to sell yourself. The other thing is what can you really deliver?
Yeah,
And can you over deliver or under deliver?
yeah,
That's the question. When somebody wants to step in the high ticket price industry, first of all, yeah, why not? When you know exactly what you do, when you have the skills, when you have the passion, yeah. When you know how to sell it, or find somebody like you, for example, or like myself, to support it, yeah, why not? I mean, I never care about other people on the market. Of course, I'm aware of it because we are visual people. We see it on social media and wherever. So it pops up every day, hundreds of times. But I don't care about what other people are doing. I focus on myself because what I learned in my early years, in my 20s, through my mentor at the time, I never compare with somebody else. I
mm,
always compare myself with my goals. Are coming closer to my goals? Yes or no? So this helps me. So I never get frustrated or irritated by whatever somebody else is doing on the market.
mm,
I don't care. I don't absolutely don't care. Of course, I'm aware that there's a lot of uh, magic, whatever you want to call it, sparkling
mm,
stuff for the market that people try to sell. You know, people they hire more closers and they sell higher tickets. Yeah, but it's always I know that 80% of data we don't see them in 3 4 years.
yeah,
That's my experience of 40 years in the business. It's always a wave. People are coming, people are going. A few will stay. The rest is bye bye. So I don't care about this. So,
mm.
but what I hear from your question is also when people have some issues or self doubts about selling high ticket prices. Like I said in the beginning, I'm not worth enough. I'm not good enough. Yeah,
Yeah, like, am I allowed to, or this kind
yeah.
of like, is my service good enough? Like, how do I know that I'm allowed to do that, and that if I have never done it, that I can actually deliver on that?
Yeah, yeah. But first of all, you're always allowed because it's up to the market. You know, you cannot force somebody.
Mm,
It's the market's decision if they say yes or no. Selling is always a buyer decision. That's we have to be clear. It's always so I obviously see it from a buyer's point of view. Of course, we can do it. Uh, I guess what people have to learn is, and what I learned luckily in my early years is, I don't sell my time. The older I get, yeah, it's more important because I was less left. Uh, and my experience, what I sell is this combination of time and experience that brings value
mm,
to my customer.
mm,
So I don't repair a washing machine or their car. I help them to be more successful, more happy, more satisfied in their life.
mm,
It's difficult. It's very difficult to value this in an amount of money because for everyone it's different.
mm,
Uh, that's why I sell high ticket prices because I'm a kind of game changer for them if they want, if they absolutely commit to it.
mm.
Um, the question is how much will I change? What I do is, of course, sometimes I look at other people how much do they sell, but then I go away. No, I don't want to copy this or this or so.
Yeah,
And okay, it's just my feeling, and I try to yeah, it comes from my guts. I said On the other hand, I sometimes I also think about a new product. What would I be willing to pay if
Mm.
somebody offers me this?
Hmm.
Yeah, with my experience and what am I willing to pay? For
Mm.
example, for my new product, I will charge, I guess, at around 10,000. Would I be willing to pay 10,000 for this? I said,
Uh,
yes, of course, but I know the outcome.
nice.
Yes, yes, for sure. So that's
Yeah.
how I believe to think.
Hmm.
Uh, and the other thing, I know a lot of people just coming from the therapy scene. They say, yeah, they have a little bit problems in charging money. And what I learned is it's unfair not to charge an adequate amount of money
Hmm.
because when we look at the universe, we call it yin and yang, whatever we believe, there must always be balanced. So when you are a giver and the other one has no chance to give back,
Hmm.
there's this gap and this person feels uncomfortable. So
Hmm.
it's unfair not to charge a fair amount of money.
Hmm.
And it's just money what they give you. Yeah? We always have to give them the chance that they can balance what you give to them. And what I did, for example, in the corporate world, in the coaching, to be honest, I had different hour. I charge different hours. So top management, where I know they have a high figure six K or a 7K income, I charge 1,000.
Hmm.
Lower. So it must also fit to their income.
Hmm.
Uh, what I learned from a mentor years ago from the US is that it must the investment that your receiver, your client takes, makes it must be between making them nervous. It must be between serious and nervous.
Uh-huh.
Okay, it's not killing them
Yes.
financially,
Yes.
but they commit more on it because they spend the money. They want to get some back, so they're much more committed to your services once
Yeah.
they pay more. So I strongly believe in this balance of commitment and being between serious and nervous.
Mm.
So when somebody's selling high price ticket, yeah, you just have to find the right audience. I mean, I sell with a friend of mine, we sell something that is 35,000, but we just target a group that can afford it.
Yeah.
But we charge it, but we know exactly for them, spending 35,000 is like for normal people, okay, my lunch is not 25 bucks, I go for a 50 euro lunch. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
What,
Okay.
what I what I don't recommend and what I really hate is when people sell, especially closers, and they know exactly that the other person is weak, maybe mentally not balanced, and they put them under
Yes.
pressure,
Yeah.
and then these people make a commitment. What
Yeah.
is, then maybe they go to the bank and get some money or borrow from friends, and you know that from their mindset of it's too. I wouldn't say it's not good for them, but it's too early on in this state for them.
Yeah.
And this is totally unfair, and I cannot support this.
Yeah. I think this is one of the reasons why there is a negative image on high ticket stuff is that especially in the early days of the internet, this is how these sales mostly went, is like lots of pressure and this kind of like you're a piece of shit if you don't buy and this is your last chance, blah blah blah. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, we
Um,
always have this. I remember when I started in the franchise industry, the franchise was not a very common thing. So people have been very skeptical and stuff like that. And this is normal. And we also had black sheeps at the market. Yeah.
mhm.
I remember when the boom came, oh, many companies came on the market. A
Yeah.
year, 2 years, they're gone. But there was, what they said, this brown soil, really franchise had a very bad reputation in the beginning. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And the same is when we compare it with hybrid ticket. But I always say to my client, if there is something, let's say, okay, do you have any negative experience? Did
Mm.
you personally or from your friends? Let's talk about it first.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it first.
Yeah.
What is it? What you experienced, what you heard from somebody who heard from somebody, whatever. Let's talk about this first.
Yeah.
And then when the person is okay, I said, okay, it's about building trust. At the
Mhm.
end, it's about building trust. And of course, afterwards, you have to deliver or better over deliver your
Yeah.
promise. So I guess this should be basic, But we have to be at the beginning. We have to build up trust. Yeah.
Mhm. Nice. Yeah, maybe one thing that I would add is um what helped me in the beginning was because obviously like you never have a guarantee when someone buys your offer that they will have incredible results because there are a lot of factors that are just not in your control. But for me, what's really helpful is, and over time, just getting this experience that for the right person who's willing to implement and actually take this seriously, as you said before, this is a game changer. And then it totally makes sense to give it a high price
Mhm.
because it actually reflects, as you said, like it reflects that this is a game changer.
Mhm.
And you can actually be in like disservice if you charge at a very low amount.
Yeah. And to be honest, when I sell my my services, I always make a call in the beginning with them, and this call is there where I decide if I want to work with the person. It's not a
Yes.
selling, it's not a selling call. And this is not this is to be honest, it's not a marketing tool for me.
Yeah.
I'm very frankly, I decided I want to work with you because I really want to find out is this person 100% commitment. Because
Yes.
for me it's not about the money. For me it's about I don't want to have any bad reputation because people are always complaining
Mm,
you and not themselves.
mm,
Always. So for me, in the beginning, in the first conversation, is always making clear their mindset,
yeah.
and I decide if they come. It's for me, it's not selling; it's the other way around.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, I experienced that as well, that it's helpful for entrepreneurs to keep in mind that working with a one-on-one client is a big investment from your side as well. And so that's why you want to be clear on who you want to serve and who you don't want to serve. Because if you take your business seriously, like those are people that you will spend quite a lot of time with.
yeah,
So
yeah,
you want to make sure that they're a good fit, that they're willing to put in the work and all that stuff. So yeah.
yeah, yeah. I did it in this corporate world before too. That still the website is still existing, it's part of performance systems, and it says if you, we, myself and my team, we commit 100%. If you commit 100%, we are together. And
Mhm.
I many times I said to big companies too, to some departments and managers, no, I don't do this. I don't train your people because you're not committed.
Mhm.
When you're not 100 committed, and this is prior number one or two at least on your prior list, I'm not facilitating anything to you.
Yeah.
It's not working.
Yeah.
Yeah. And because I don't want you to hear off this because I know what I can, I know my skills, I know my experience, I know my success stories, and I want to succeed too.
Yes.
And it's only working. I know what I'm bringing 100%, but I want to be clear that you're 100% committed because otherwise you can do whatever you want. You can dance in front of them. It doesn't make sense. And I feel like committed. It's not working.
Yeah, I think this is a powerful learning experience over time as an entrepreneur that like even if you were able to manipulate someone into buying something from you that they don't want or they're not ready for, ultimately you suffer equally or even worse than the person. Like the only thing that you got was like short-term monetary return, but everything besides that you're just paying. So there's
Absolutely.
there's really
Absolutely.
very little interest in that unless of course you're in a super tight financial spot, and that is why it's tough to be an entrepreneur when and you don't have any other income streams and you need money now and it's like you come from desperation. I think that's where we take decisions out of integrity most easily when we're in that place.
Yeah, I mean, I experienced it too, the last 40 years. Sometimes I had, as an entrepreneur, sometimes you have money like crazy and then boom, but
Yes.
your spending is the same level because you have all
Yes.
these cars and all these houses and stuff like that. We all know this. And sometimes there's a gap, yeah.
Yeah.
And I was under pressure, to be honest, yeah,
Mhm.
to keep my lifestyle.
Mhm.
And sometimes I said yes to requests from customers.
Mhm.
And this yes came from my brain
Yeah.
and not from my gut.
Yeah.
And it was always frustrating. And I said, okay, doesn't matter if I don't have money at the moment, I don't do it anymore because it
Yes.
just brings frustration. When you're frustrated, you don't find the right client.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have to step back and maybe consume less, or maybe like the exercise you did. Okay, where can we just cut off expenses on a monthly base what we don't need or stuff like that? Yeah. And it's much better to cut down. I don't in Latin it's tabula rasa. Yeah, so making tabula rasa, cut down, focus, and go ahead. Because to be honest, all the material stuff we have, we can give away. You can buy them anyway again.
Mhm.
Even when you move from a large house in a small apartment, you can buy a larger house in 2 years again. Why not?
Yeah.
But we are such so attached to thing because the opinion of other people who give a shit on us is so important to us.
Mhm.
And this is a threat to our success. I don't know how you see this.
Yeah, I think like a thing that comes up, another principle is this idea of, are you playing finite games or infinite games?
Yeah,
So this it's a great book for anyone who doesn't know it, Finite versus Infinite Games. And the idea is basically, am I operating in anything in my life in a way where it's like, well, I'm interested to reach a certain goal by this time and then I'm out? Or do I play things in a way where it's like, I would be willing to do this for the rest of my life?
yeah,
And there's also this like mystical perspective in this that I know spiritual teacher Thomas Hübl, he, for example, says like, walk at a pace that you could walk forever.
yeah,
And I really like that. And I live by that. Like, I don't
mm,
think about, okay, like, what do I need to do so that by a certain time in my life I have this? I'm like, I want to always live life as if it would go on forever.
mm,
Because in that way, I will not make like stupid short-term decisions. I will I will live life like in a life-serving way. And
yeah,
in a way where I think beyond myself, beyond like the end of my life, because life will move on after I die. So do I want to set up my business in a way where it's like the moment I die, everything collapses, or do I want to find ways to create lasting impact so that it can move on? So
yeah,
this helps me is like, okay, am I, and for example, when it comes to collaborations, and I've done some mistakes in the past, I only start collaborations if I can see myself working with someone long term.
yeah,
And so the moment that you start internally, like going like, yeah, okay, like maybe we can make it work
yeah,
after 3 months, like you're probably not on the right path.
yeah, absolutely.
Beautiful. Okay, Roland, this has been such a juicy conversation. Thank you so much for your time. We're going to wrap this up. Is there anything that you want to share about how people can find out about your work or anything that's coming up that you want to give a teaser about?
Well, if anyone wants to contact me, it's first of all, you don't have to have an issue or a challenge. I always love to connect with people. It's all about networking, connecting, and for me, it's about caring and sharing. And I'm always interested in people where they're coming from, where they're heading to. Um, doesn't mean that you have to become a client. Just contact me if you want. The best way is send me an email. Email is the best way.
Mhm.
It's office at my name is rolandfriedl.com, or my
Mhm.
website is rolandfriedl.com. But office at rolandfriedl.com is the best way to connect with me. Let me know what your thoughts are, what your goals are, what your dreams are, what your challenges are. Let's have a conversation.
Yeah. And I can just say from a personal experience that when Roland says this, he means that because this can also be a kind of like sleazy marketing strategy of like, oh, I don't want anything from you. But that is my experience when talking with you is that you're not looking to push to sell something to someone who for whom it's not relevant. You're a great connector and you're interested in meeting people and exchanging ideas. So
Yeah,
yeah, for anyone resonating with the stuff that Roland is talking about, you'll probably find great value in connecting with him, whether you buy stuff from him or not. And yeah, I feel like we could do a part two at some point. So let's see if we want to continue the conversation. But until then, thank you so much, Roland, and all the best to you.
thank you for having me. It was an honor and a pleasure. Thanks a lot, and thank you for to your audience for listening. Thank you.
Yes.